Hello and welcome back to Dragon Rider Cryptos. This is the Dragon Rider. So let's get into it, folks. Take a quick look at the market. You see, mostly everything is red, but we do got some price action going on inside the space. All right, lots of red here. You can look at it two ways: a loss or potential opportunities. I would rather I'd rather see it as potential opportunities. Lots of red. Because if you're not buying, somebody else is. And particularly the institutions, all right, whales. They're buying up right now. They have already pumped and dumped to such a degree in the last three rounds of this waves. Okay, it's been three waves of pumping and dumping, institutional pumping and dumping. The first one, they used a lot of FUD and they downed the market and then they bought up. All right. Then the market quickly recovered. And then again, they came through with the FUD. And it was not really fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It was more fear because it was certain, there was no doubt about what they were doing. They were pumping and dumping the market in order to gain access, in order to put the clause in. Understand this, people. These institutions don't want to destroy cryptocurrencies. They just want to control them to the extent, to such an extreme degree that absolutely no wealth can be produced without going through them so that they can get their cut. That's what it's all about. All right. So let's get into the news. Get over here to CoinDesk.com, and right on the front top, they're telling on themselves as they usually do. All right. Goodbye, ICO. Hello, Tau. You can go in here and read this article, but I'm just going to go give you a brief summary of what it's about. And all it is about is the institutions using their right arm and their left arm of the law and regulatory platform, regulatory entities in order to relabel ICOs into TAOs. And when they do that, they're going to say that the TAOs are the institutionally acceptable forms of crowdfunding and so on and so forth. And then they're going to create FUD and all kinds of negative propaganda towards ICOs, which they will probably allow some ICOs still, but they will primarily be running the TAOs. And these TAOs will be only open toward licensed investors. And as I said before, as far as the institutions go, the hand called the SEC says that unless you are a millionaire, you're too stupid to be investing for yourself, and thus you should allow them to do it for you. Go read up on the ICO. Go read up the SEC requirements and what they say. It says right inside their freaking paperwork that you gotta be a millionaire essentially in order to prove that you can manage money. And yet, the whole country of the U.S. is in freaking trillions and trillions of dollars of debt, and thus here comes the severe taxing of all cryptocurrency trades, supposedly non-real assets, which is exactly what is the money in your bank account right now. Because once you convert it from a dollar into once you take your dollars and put them into the bank, they become digital currency. They become unreal, intangible. So how is that going to apply down the road? Good question. Is your bank accounts potentially susceptible for these new draconian taxing? I don't know, maybe. But that's all this is right here inside here. Real quick, go inside. You can see these guys are always telling on themselves. All right, come down here, and it says you can read all this. It's all just junk. Just understand that KYC is basically labeling you being labeled, or rather, let's just look at it like this: KYC is a tag. All right, it's a tag. It's a data tag on you, on us, on we. Everything is being put into data, all right? So the artificial intelligence, the AI can track and monitor. The AI needs food, and data is food for that artificial intelligence, all right? So we are all being turned into data, the Internet of Things, so to speak, all right? KYC is data. That's you. You're the data, all right? And this is what they're going to be doing. The result will be an increased activity and investment by institutional investors and venture capitalists. All right, as I said, as far as the government is concerned, as far as the banking institutions is concerned, they use their arms. One being the primary one being the IRS, and another one being the SEC, to decide what you can do with your money. And they're saying that you're too stupid to do anything with your money unless you're already a wealthy individual. All right. So that's what that story is all about. All right. And come over here. There's some other stories in here. Some of them are not all negative, but we got to look at things in reality, positive with the negative, and we transmute, we move on through. All right. Because everything comes in waves. The pendulum swings both ways. However far it goes one way, it's generally going to go the same the other way. These guys understand that. Unfortunately, they're caught up in greed, and that's why they've pushed it so far to the extreme. So you can expect the new waves to come in, and eventually, at some point, start to push back towards the other direction. Okay, atomic swaps. That could be a very positive thing, and or it could become quite negative depending on if it's manipulated to a certain degree. All right. South Korea reportedly expands crackdown on crypto exchanges. All right, there's a large market in South Korea, and so this is another way to manipulate the markets. All right, to cause fear and all this other kind of stuff. And some people might rightfully be in fear. I mean, if you're out there doing dirty shit, you want to get caught up in some. You probably should be caught up because you're screwing people over. But for the people who are just out there trying to utilize this technology to get ahead, this kind of shit right here is just a tactic, all right? The right hand and the left hand, all right? They can manipulate the market through Asia. They can manipulate the markets through, the states, United States. They can manipulate. It depends on what they're doing, and they always come from different angles. So, this right here is a these are tactics. You gotta understand how tactics work. So they're using one of their. It's like an octopus got like all these tentacles. So one of the tentacles is reaching around and choking over here, right? And another tentacle reaches around and it chokes on the other side. And another tentacle, and the whole time the beak's in the center, just biting on everything. So that's what's going on here. Essentially, they're using South Korea to manipulate the markets, okay? Because when this came out, all the market went drop down, okay? They can't keep doing the same thing over and over because it registers in people's brains. People's brains realize patterns very quickly, so they're constantly changing their pattern, but not their form. You understand? They do the same thing, they just do it in different ways. All right, Goldman Sachs. Now, I talked about how the universe has principles, laws. Everything is governed by these principles. They understand these principles, all right? Doesn't mean they try to follow them. They're always trying to bend them. As you can tell, they make rules and they bend them for themselves. And then they try to force them very extremely on everybody else. But the pendulum does swing. There's yin and yang. And every pyramid has two parts, one above and one below. So don't get caught up just looking at the pyramid on the top, because below that pyramid is another pyramid, and on the bottom of that pyramid is the base, and at the base of that pyramid is another eye, and that's the eye that sees all the eyes, all right? It sees everything. It holds up the pyramid on the top, all right? They're one and the same, just polarities. So we're about to see another wave come in of polarity right now, and in the chaos, never forget that the greatest potential for light is within the darkness. Within the chaos is the greatest potential for creativity. So always look for that inside the chaos. All right. That being said, we're starting to see some of the rhythm rather the momentum shift. And why is that? Because look at this, Goldman Sachs, Jamie Dimon guy now talking about, you know, um, Bitcoin, and he was wrong, and man, that's all show. Now they're bumping up again. Okay, they had to prove to their investors, the big kahunas, the big chongos, that they can manipulate and control the market before they'll allow that level of institutional money come into the space. All right, because there's people that have a lot of money and they want to invest, but they want guarantees, and that's basically what they're showing: guarantees that they can control these markets. I don't know if they'll be able to do that, and if they do, for how long, that is remains to be seen. Right? People just have a tendency to get tired of shit when it becomes too much, and it's getting to be at that point. It looks like, you know, it's not just affecting people in cryptocurrencies. This whole transition from this old traditional so-called markets into this new paradigm of digital assets, digital market, cryptocurrencies, is going to be difficult for some of the old brains and even some of the young brains. All right, but it's happening, and need not need not doubt for 1 second that they are going to try to bring the same thinking into this space. All right, they don't want to destroy cryptocurrencies. They want to control it to such an extreme degree that it limits the ability for the common people to utilize the potential, become wealthy. Because when everybody's wealthy, you can't tell nobody else shit because they got the same abilities to do what you can do. All right, look at Warren Buffett. He comes out, you know, when these guys start flipping their tune, that's when you know that they have completed a cycle, they have completed some movement in their tactics to implement what it is that they're trying to do. All right. So they pumped and dumped 3 times. They gained a bunch of assets. Now they set regulators and institutions into the space to put screens and filters and walls and speed bumps toward the common people, toward the normal, regular people's ability to access. And then they'll try to essentially, filter out all the opportunities that they can that'll allow you to become millionaires, billionaires, to become wealthy. So there's a lot of stuff going on. There's also some positive stuff going on. Positive things being that people and more people are becoming aware of this and what's going on, of cryptocurrencies, blockchain technology, and they're coming into the space. And that means there's going to be more and more people who are going to be pissed off when they find out what's going on. And there is power in mass. You know what I mean? There's power in mass. When a massive when a bunch of people decide to say, we're not going to give donations to these senators and congress people for their election unless they accept cryptocurrencies publicly and openly. You know, that could be one tactic that people would start using. But we'll have to see what goes on down the road here. Let's jump on over to Bitcoin.com. There's some more news over here. As always, I suggest that you come into these news areas and news sites and just check out all the stuff, connect the dots, all right? What they're talking about. Bitcoin investor sues Hyobi over 40,000 in losses, all right? Certain things like that are going to become more and more and more prevalent, I think, with this regulatory tactics coming into the space. Goldman Sachs, again, we're talking about this guy, blockexplorer.com. All right, another big news is that Kodak is coming out with a blockchain. It's down here somewhere. You can come in here and read it. That looks to be pretty good. Have to look into that a little better. Real estate is another thing that's coming out. People are starting to be able to buy houses with these coins. They don't like that. Right? So just come on over here, check out the news, see what's going on, look into space. Don't get FOMO, don't get too much FUD. Just be aware of what's going on. Do what you gotta do. Be safe out there. As I said, oh, this is crazy right here, all right? That's obvious. And you put sanctions, they got cryptos. They're like fuck sanctions. We should do mine the cryptos. Anyway, so that being said, just keep your head up, keep your eyes open, and keep riding those dragons.